You've started listing on eBay and you're just not making the sales. A sale starts with a good listing and you don't have to guess at it. eBay is going to tell you exactly what to do for a good listing, how you compare to others. They give you this information. You just have to know how to find it and how to use it. And in today's video, I am going to be doing just that for you. eBay has a listing quality report that you can download. It shows you all of your listings and it gives you the analytics to tell you how to improve to essentially make more sales. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sarah from Sarah Styles here. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to pull an eBay listing quality report. I'm going to tell you what it is, how to understand it. It's a lot of information. It can be very overwhelming, but I'm going to walk you through step by step of what it actually means and how it's actually going to be useful to you, as well as sharing three tips. That's three tips at the end of the video of how to actually use this in your eBay business. Regardless of what you sell, this is tailored to you to make your listings the best possible to end up making more sales. So let's get right into it. If you have an eBay store, you can go to My Seller Hub. Just click up here on Sell and then go to your performance. I believe this is under, if you're just on the summary as well, I'm on the traffic tab over here on the left, and then you can click this button and it says download listing quality report. It is going to download onto like a spreadsheet. If you don't have Excel or you don't have numbers, you can pull it up in Google Sheets. That is free for anyone who has access to the internet. It's what I use. I don't have Excel on my computer, and it's going to pull up to this. You'll have to download it and then open it. I've already done that for the sake of time for this video, but I'm going to go through, it's going to pull all of these tabs for you, and I'm going to walk you through step by step what these actually mean and how you can actually use them. So first it's going to go to the summary tab, and what's cool is when they first brought this out, they only had like your top 10 categories. And for me, that was mostly okay because I don't sell in a ton of categories, but now they've made it where it brings in every single category, it analyzes every single category, and it tells you how to improve it. So let's go through and look at mine a little bit. I'll walk you through this and then we'll go through the other tabs as well. This is the summary. It's going to get each tab is going to get into more detail for this. So there's definitely a lot more information. You can see over here, I like that they highlight the colors very quickly. You can see they put it in order as well. I have two categories that are yellow, so kind of yield, need a little bit of an improvement. We'll look at those, and then you can scroll down and see everything else is in a green, means there's no recommendations. I'm doing essentially the best compared to others as I can. So if you go through here, it's going to tell you the category. I do women's clothing, shoes, and purses. This obviously is going to be different depending on what category you do, but it's going to give you the same information regardless. So we're looking at dresses. We're looking at new. This tells me my ranking compared to the sellers. I am ranking 860 out of the 166,000 other sellers in this category, which even with some recommendations, is still pretty legit, right? Like 860 is a lot, but out of 166,000, that's pretty legit. So you can see here, it's going to go through and tell me exactly what needs to be improved. So I want you to understand how eBay pulls these reports and how they're analyzing it. What they're going in and looking at is they're going in and comparing you to the best sellers on eBay and the worst sellers on eBay in this category, in the category that you're selling at. And you'll see this a little bit more when we get into a little bit more detail. But they're pulling the 10% best sellers for search impressions. What sellers in women's clothing dresses have the most search impressions? How am I doing compared to them? And then they do it also for the worst sellers. What sellers out of this category have the least amount of search impressions, and what are they doing? So they're comparing you to what are the best sellers doing and what are the worst sellers doing, and how do you compare towards that? And you can see from here, I'm not doing as good. I have a high SNAD. So that means significantly not as described rate. That means I'm getting a lot of items returned for items not as described. You can see here, why is this recommended? It tells you exactly. Obviously, your stuff is going to be different. If you guys have questions, leave them down below or send me a DM, because you're guys going to have different improvements than mine is, but eBay tells you what to do. On average, only 1% of listings with the most impressions, so the best eBay sellers that have the most impressions on eBay search in my category are significantly not as subscribed. So this is telling me my items are being returned because they're not as described. I need to go in and figure out why. And we'll get into a little bit more detail. eBay is going to tell me a little bit more into how to fix this in a minute. I already know what the problem is, so I'll share with you guys in a minute. And then the other one is improve your shipping speed. And I'll tell you right now, this one, I know exactly what this is. I pulled this yesterday and I looked at that and like, that's weird. I have one business handling day. I ship same day if it comes in before noon. And then if not, this next day. And on my seller ratings, not in this video, I won't show you, but there's a place that you can see those metrics. I'm top rated seller plus. So I meet those standards. However, what happened here, and this is why this is good to pull this report, what happened here is when I went on vacation, like 3 months ago, I changed the handling to a couple days. And then when I went back in and bulk edited to change it back, if an item has an offer on it, you can't edit it. So I went in to change edit them all back to 1 day handling. I must have had some offers out and those never got changed. And then 3 months have gone by and they still have multiple handling days on it instead of my normal 1 day. So I went in and updated that. All right, now let's get into, so this is going to go through and give you kind of a quick overview. It's going to tell you in these categories down here, I don't really need to worry about. It is good to see how I rank, your rank of sales compared to others. If you're like, what, how am I doing, right? It's hard to know, are things down because I'm not doing well or are things down because things are down? How do you compare to others? 661 out of 147 sellers, 270 out of 42,000 sellers, right? I'm ranking pretty well. I'm not the number one, which I don't expect to be, but I'm up there. So I know that I'm doing pretty well. The next tab is going to be the guide. So this is, you guys, I'm going to not read over it, but you guys can go through and read over this. It's going to kind of give you some tips, how things are calculated and what these all mean. The other interesting tab, and then we will get into more detail on the categories, lots of really important information in there. So do stick with me because this is the next tabs that go deep into each category. Those are going to actually show you how you can improve your listings. The summary gives you a quick overview, but you can really go in depth into each category when you look on the tabs. This is Google Shopping Reject. So what this means is if you are on eBay shows your items, assuming you have everything that meets their criteria and whatever, but eBay shows your items. They also send it to Google. So part of being on eBay is you also get this added advantage of it showing up in Google search. However, Google has certain criteria that needs to be met to be able to be pulled in on Google search. If your items are showing on Google search, right? You want your items on Google. You want your items to show in eBay. That's one set of exposure. You want your items to show on Google. That's another set of exposure. That's another set of people that are Googling, I want a women's purse on Google. You want it to show up from your eBay listing so that people go to it and buy it. This is going to tell you if your items are not being sent, if they're not being showed up on the Google search, it's going to tell you why. Now, I don't have any, so I can't go into detail about what exactly this is telling you, but my guess is that it's going to go in depth just because the rest of this report is going to say, hey, this isn't showing because of this. Go fix that, and now you're going to be getting a second set of eyes on your items. Now let's get into the deep dive. What you can go into a category is going to list out, and this is where it gets really overwhelming. Stay with me. I'm going to give you guys tips at the end on how to use this and actually increase your sales because of it without getting completely overwhelmed. So I am going to walk through it because I think it's important to really understand and stay until the very end to learn tips and tricks on how to use this without getting overwhelmed and actually help you make more sales from using it. So I'm going to go to dresses new because that is one of my categories that said it can be improved. I'm going to tell you right now, because I already know this, I looked at this last night. I know my high significantly not as described rate. So this is saying I have a lot of returns that are being returned for items not as described. This is a new category, new items, new with tags. I purchased liquidation pallets and thrifted items. So this is liquidation pallets because it's new with tags. And a couple of the brands aren't necessarily, because they're kind of higher end brands, they don't necessarily follow the standard sizing. I have measurements in all of my photos. However, people don't always look at measurements. And so then they have returned it and said item is not as described because it says this was a size 12 and it really fit me like a size, 20 or whatever it is. I'm going to give you a quick tip on this. Let me take this back. If a buyer returns an item and it is false, you can report them. They won't know. The buyer does not know. You go into eBay and on the return, you can click and go down. And I'm not going to show you because I don't want to show buyer information, but you go into your returns, you click on the little arrow, and there's a list of things that you can do. And one of them is report. You can report them. And I have done that. When people return it and say, hey, the item is not as described, it says it's a size 12 and it fits like a size 13. I report them because that's not true. The tag says size 12. I have the measurements in there. It doesn't fit them. That's fine, but it is not item not as described. So I do go in and report them. However, it does take eBay weeks, months to go in and analyze and remove that. If they agree with me and they say, hey, you're right, this item was described correctly, they will take that item not as described off of my account. So that was a quick tip, not having to do with the listing report, but I know that this is not necessarily true. I know that it happens. However, my items are as described. They're just being returned for different reasons, right? But let's look at this and see what this actually means. So I really like this. It's a lot of information. Like I said, stick with me. We're going to start over here with the graphic. This is telling you you're comparing to the previous 31 days. So something to be mindful of when you're on eBay, a lot of their things are compared to the previous 31 days. You can see all of my metrics have gone down. I am recording this video in December. December is historically my worst month because people are shopping for the holidays. They're not buying on eBay as much as they were buying new stuff. December is just always my worst month. So I know my December compared to my November isn't necessarily because I'm doing things worse. It's because December is just a worse month for me. But you need to know your data and own your data. If things are continuing to go down, if you've changed something and it's continuing to go down, be mindful of that. We're going to get deep into the analytics of this though. So you'll be able to tell for you what that means. This is starting with a funnel, the graphic. So you have impressions at the top, and then it goes to click through, and then it goes to sales conversion. Sales conversion is people are converting to that sale. People are purchasing your items. This is what we all want. However, you cannot have a sales conversion without a click through. You cannot get a person to click on your item if it is not shown in an eBay search. So it starts with impressions. You get the most impressions, and then you want people to click. You're going to get less buyers that are willing to click, and you're going to get even fewer people that are willing to convert. However, you want to make each of those as big as possible for your highest chance at making a sale. So it's telling you all of your rates. You can compare to each other. I'll get into why this is important and how to use this kind of towards the end of the video. And then it tells you recommendations on things that you can improve. For my impressions on eBay search, as I stated, we already talked about, it's telling me I have a high significantly not as described rate, but it tells me in detail, make sure your listing details are accurate. So I can go in to these items, and if you scroll down here, it tells you here is your bulk edit. Here are the items that we're specifically talking about. I'm not going to do it for the sake of this video because it takes forever when I'm filming, and I'm not going to edit them but for this video, but you click here and it'll take you to your bulk edit. You can go to eBay and edit the items that eBay is telling you that need to be improved. I come through here and it's telling my listing quality meets the top improvement for my click-through. My listing quality meets the top benchmark. Yours may say things that are different. And I'm going to show you in a minute. Actually, I'll show you right now. I have a graphic because it gets very confusing. There's all these metrics and what do I do to improve them? I do have a graphic that is a download below. I will link it down below. It's a graphic kind of like a cheat sheet. I just saw a dog walk by out the window and it looked like my dog. It was not. It is a cheat sheet on eBay's metrics, what they mean, and what you need to do to improve them. So let me pull that up for you guys and show you. It is a download below. I think it's maybe, I don't know, $1 or $3, something like that. But this is, you can download it and it'll tell you this is what impressions mean. This is what page views, essentially click through for the purpose of the listing report means. Here's what sales conversion means. And then it tells you if you need to work on your impressions, here's what you need to work on: your SEOs, your filters, your in-demand inventory. You know, these are things that you can do. If you fix these things, it will ultimately fix your impressions. So that is a free download. Let's go back to the listing report. That's just a different way of looking at it. Sorry, guys. Let's go back to the quality listing report. Okay, so this is telling you impressions, eBay search, click through. It's giving you a list down here of ones that you can be improving. You can look by item of these items, like what is, there's no clicks. This one has no clicks. Obviously, none of these have sales because they're not multiples. That makes sense, but I can look at these click-through rates, these ones with no clicks. Okay, let me go in and try and figure out why they're not getting clicks. And then the other thing I want us to do is come over here. If you kind of scroll over to the right, this is where it gets really overwhelming. There's a lot, but this information is so useful. So don't skip over it. This goes through and compares you, tells you all of the different things in a listing that makes it a good listing. And it compares you, it compares your impressions, it compares your click-through rate, and it compares your sales conversion to the top percent of buyers and to the to the top percent of sellers, to the top percent of sellers. So how do you compare to the best? And then how do you compare to the worst, right? So you have your daily impressions and then your click-through rates and then your sales conversions. It's comparing your store. So this top line, it's going to be, mine's in green. It possibly may be in red if things aren't looking good for you. Those are indicators. I like that eBay has color coding. Those are indicators. Hey, that's something that maybe I need to work on. It goes through and says, hey, your item specifics, my daily impressions, I have 10 item specifics. On average, it's pulling all of my new with tag dresses. On average, I have 10 item specifics. The top percent of eBay sellers in this category have 6. The bottom percent have 4. So I'm outperforming the top performing sellers. And then it goes to brand. Is this a brand that you want? An MPN. This is relevant because it is new with tags. If it's not with new with tags, it's not relevant. Same with UPC. Talks about the number of photos. And this is where it's important because it depends on the category that you're in. Not all categories can you have 11 photos, but how are you doing compared to others? The people that are getting the most impressions, you want to be as good, if not better than they are. 11 photos. On average, the top percent have 6 photos. On average, the bottom have 5 photos. So I'm almost double the amount of photos. It gives people more information. These are things that eBay tells you makes a good listing. If you are not in that top percent of these categories, I'm not going to go through all of them, but it tells you number of keywords in your title, free shipping, estimated, these are all of the things that make you a top performer. If you're not in the top percent of those, these are things that you need to work on. So now how can we go through and actually use this? This is a lot of information. Because like I said, that was just one tab of the categories that I sell on. That's one tab. It gets very overwhelming. So I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed by this. I want you to take some time. The first tip I'm going to give you on how to make this useful is take some time to sit down and engage with this and learn what it means. Take it step by step. Rewind this video and go step by step with me as many times as you need. Save this video so that you can come back for next month when you do this and understand what all of this means. Really engage and learn it. Take some time out of your day to do that. The second thing is, once you have really understood and you can look at this report, I can look at this report, I see something in the red, I know exactly what to go and do. Once you get to that point, Pick 1 to 3 things to fix. You may get this report and you may have a lot of red. You may have a lot of things that need to be fixed. And it can be really overwhelming and it just makes you want to stop, right? There's just too much and I don't know how to do it. It's okay. You don't have to fix it all at once. If you make one improvement, that's one possible improved sale. If you do that 2 days in a row, that's 2 possible improved sales. It's little steps over time makes big progress. You don't have to sit down and do every single thing. So my second tip is going to be, once you understand the report, pick 1 to 3 things to work on. Whether that is, hey, I have these categories. For me, it would be I have those 2 categories that were in the yellow. I'm going to go work on those. I did this last night, which is why I'm doing the video today, because I pulled the report and I was like, oh, this would be good to show people. I went in and I fixed those things. I figured out, for me, the significantly not as described. There's not really anything to fix, but understanding what the issue is and being mindful that I need to continue to report people. And then going in, I went in and fixed my handling time. Go in, find 1 to 3 things to fix, whether that is, I fixed a category like that, or whether that is going in and saying, hey, my dresses are really down. I have a lot of reds in all these categories. I'm going to go in and I'm going to fix all of the things. I'm going to add more photos. I'm going to add more keywords. I'm going to whatever it is. And I'm going to show you eBay wants to help you. The more you sell, the more money that they make. And the cool thing too is it's going to bring up your first 25 listings in this category. So you don't have to go in and figure out which listings is. It's going to tell you, here's the first 25. You may have to go in, depending on how many you have, and pull more using the bulk edit feature, which I have a video on my eBay tutorials. It's going to go in and pull those in eBay, and you can go in and fix those. Take it step by step. Do, 1 to 3, like I said. Do a couple a day. It depends on what works best for you. It may work best to sit down for 3 hours and just knock it all out. And it may work to say, hey, I'm going to do 3 of these. I'm going to fix 3 item specifics a day. Little changes over time is going to make big changes, right? And the third tip is going to be pull this regularly. Let me look and make sure I have all of my tips. Yes. So once you fix, this is kind of one tip together. Once you've fixed everything, come back and see if it has actually improved these metrics. If you're going in and saying, I'm going to fix all my item specifics in dresses, go and fix all your item specifics in dresses, give it a week or 2, pull this report again and see if you're ranking better. Was it worth your time? This is where the data and analytics is so important. There's so many things that we can be doing, but what is the best use of your time? Fix something, wait a week or 2, come back, pull the report again, and see if it is actually worth your time. Having more photos may not actually really matter in improving, right? If you're right. So, and this is how you're going to know. Every category is going to be different. If you guys like this video, YouTube thinks that you'd like this video, I will link more eBay tutorials here, and then make sure to hit that subscribe button.